Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today I am bringing you a very interesting topic, and it concerns over 70,000 international students facing deportation in Canada currently. There were protests in some province right there in Canada, and it is not very good for Canada, and this is not also good for international students, especially for the international students community, both for those who are inside of Canada and those who are outside. So this is something I have read, saw it online and in various news blogs, and I have decided, after making inquiries, to bring it to your knowledge, as this would help you to prepare when you are coming to Canada or going to Canada for your studies. Because we know that this year alone, a lot of immigration policies have been put in place. A lot of changes have happened in the last few years, especially since 2021. So many of the international students there are not seeing these immigration policies funny, to the extent many of them are struggling to even concentrate on their studies. So this is something I will be discussing with you right here on this channel. So if you are just coming across my page for the first time, my name is Nosa Comedy, the man with the remedy. Many of my fans from all over the world call me Nosa from the source. You know why? That is because whenever I drop that update, it is 100. Right here, we don't do content, we don't gist, we don't talk travel issues based on emotions. Rather, we use logic and statistics. So, welcome. Do well to subscribe to this channel if you have not yet done so. And also give this video a big like so that YouTube can recommend this content for those who might also be interested in it. And do well to send the link to this video to your friends and loved ones. And also, you can also share this on your social media platforms so that our brothers and sisters can be informed. Because every single day, every one of us, we come online to say, oh, people abroad, many of them, they don't like to share content. They don't like to share updates with many of us back home. Me, I am doing my best to share whatever information I come across to you guys, because I know we cannot share money to everybody. Information is power. So also do well to share. And also, I want to personally thank every one of you who have contributed to the growth of my social media presence. Right here on YouTube, we just clocked 44,000. So we are doing it. Please continue to support me. Thank you very much to my returning subscribers, and thank you very much to my existing subscribers. So let's go into this video properly. Now, a lot of people left their countries with the hope of getting better education. And we all know that not too long ago in Nigeria, the educational sector, the tertiary educational sector or tertiary education sector was put on hold. I think that was like in 2022 or 2023 when there was when the academic staff went on strike. So things like this and others led to people having preference to studying abroad, which has led to the influx of especially Africans going to Canada for studies. So now people went to Canada for their studies, and eventually policies that were in place that brought them to Canada for their studies started changing. People were no longer finding this funny. Now, what is really happening right there in Canada? And first of all, let me also let you know that the current exchange rate as well from our various countries back home in Africa has also led to many of these, our brothers and sisters who are currently studying in Canada, to be stranded. Imagine a situation where somebody went to Canada when the Canadian dollar was about 500 or less than 500 naira to one Canadian dollar. As of today, the Canadian dollar is over 1,000 naira to one Canadian dollar. So that is to say, if you went to Canada having 20 million naira in your bank account, which ought to be around $4,000. As of today, that 20 million naira that used to be $4,000 is not even up to $2,000 anymore, which has led to many students right there in Canada to be stranded. Now, this protest happened in Ontario, in these various provinces I'm about to tell you, in Ontario, Prince Edward Island, British Columbia, Manitoba, just like that. These are the places where this protest happened. And the recent immigration policies right there in Canada has really plunged a lot of students into uncertainty. And Canada, the Canadian government is saying that the reason for the numerous immigration policies are, some of them are, one, the housing crisis. And they also said unemployment is on the high, which is the reason why they are trying to make sure that they cut the size of student visa holders. So they are reducing the number of international students by around 35%. So these and others are the reasons why people are no longer finding it funny. So for those of you back home who are planning to go and study in Canada, you have to prepare properly. You have to prepare very well. You have to create room for inflation. Because imagine people who calculated and left their countries with the exact money that we pay their tuition fees to Canada without making room for inflation, now went to Canada and realized that in just a month, the money they calculated that was supposed to be able to pay their tuition fees are no longer even able to cover up to 70%. So they are now left stranded. And we also know that I came here not too long ago to let people understand that a lot of students right there in Canada, especially international students, I mean those international students, a lot of them were left with no choice because they wouldn't want to come back home to nothing and decided to go for asylum. This asylum thing has been happening for a very long time because there are cases where international students went for asylum, they got it, some lost it, and have been asked to leave Canada as we speak. So nobody wants to be in that position. So you outside Canada right now planning to come and study, you need to make room for inflation. You need to have enough money in your bank account in case of incasity, like we say in our pidgin parlance back home in Nigeria. Now imagine you get to Canada with 20 million that was supposed to be able to cover your tuition. And in the space of a month or two, you need extra 10 million or 5 million or 3 million naira or 3 million CFAs to cover that same tuition. It's not like Canada, it's not like the school increased your tuition fee. Tuition fee remains the same. But your local currency to that of the Canadian dollar is something else. And now, and as a result of the housing shortages, unemployment percentage rising up, Canada is telling you, right now, we need to cut the size of these students coming to our country because they contributed to the housing crisis. So we may intend to increase this international students number But first of all, they are reducing the number of student visas and other temporary visas. Because don't forget that, like they said earlier this year, they want to reduce the number of temporary residents in their country. And by so doing, they started with the work visa. Not just really the work visa. The work visa is even okay. They started with the student visa, tourist visa. People call it visitor visa. That's the visitor visa. That's what they call it right in Canada. So these two visas are the main visas they are concentrating on. They are reducing it drastically. So, which is even the reason why people who applied for Canada visitor visas for over a year now, at least some are beginning to get messages from IROCC, while larger chunk of these people who applied for the various Canada TROVs, that is the temporary resident visas, are still yet to get visa message or messages from IROCC. Because earlier this year, I also came here to let people understand that as a result of these temporary policies and the meetings that were scheduled by the Honorable Minister Mark Miller, I think that's what he's called, who is in charge of immigration right now in Canada, and which was the reason why there were delays in visa messages to visa applicants. So me, I am right here telling you, please, I wouldn't want you to be in this kind of mess that some of these our brothers and sisters are currently in. Prepare well before you leave home. Please don't just leave with the exact amount you need. Create room for miscellaneous. So this is just what is happening right there in Canada, and I am wishing every one of you the best of luck, and I wish you the best when it comes to migrating from your country to another country. So have a very good one and respect.